Hey, y'all. It's Juanita Coley, the founder of Solid Rock Consulting, where we help call centers implement technology, optimize the technology that they currently have in place, and build better workforce management teams. I want to welcome you to Call Center Chronicles. Call Center Chronicles is a place for CEOs, call center professionals, tech leaders, and yes, the customer looking to have fun yet thought-provoking conversations around how we improve customer experiences and companies' bottom line. We are on a mission to normalize women in tech and workforce management leadership roles, and we believe that that starts with conversation. Welcome to Call Center Chronicles. Hey, guys, welcome to Call Center Chronicles. I don't know if it's just me or the intro music that my production team puts together is always has me like, it's a little bop, it always has me, doing a little jam. Anywho, you guys know I get sidetracked really quickly. So let's jump right in and do some housekeeping. Okay, so welcome to those that are watching us live. So if you're watching live, just, give us a little shout out in the chat. So I know one, my audio is good, that you guys can hear me. And then also I know that you're here. Don't be a stalker in the chat. Okay, that's not what we want to do. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking with you guys. For those of you that are tuning in and watching us on replay, leave us a comment. Let me know that you are here. I love to go back, watch the comments, or read the comments rather, so I can engage and see what you all were talking about. If something that I said or the guest said was insightful to you, thought-provoking, that is what we're doing here, right? We're encouraging conversation so that we can impact change. So definitely, if you're watching on replay, let us know. Okay, so that covered our live guests. Thank you so much for being with us. You could be anywhere and you're tuning in with us here today. Thank you for watching us on replay. Leave us a comment. Let us know that you were here. Also, other housekeeping. Okay, for those of you that don't know, last episode, right? So not last week because we skipped a week. But this episode before that, we had on Jay Jackson. Okay, and we were talking about when customer service turns into customer experience. And I'll be honest with you guys, right? So like I when I was thinking about the show and I thought about the title and what I wanted to talk about for that show, for his episode, I knew it was going to be good, right? Like I don't just put shows together because I don't have nothing else better to do with my time, right? But it was so profound to me, and I don't know, maybe it's just me. It don't take much, right? But it was so profound to me that as we got into talking more and more about it, the dots really did connect for me on how vastly different customer service is from customer experience. Those are two entirely different things. And I think so many times as leaders, right? So I've spent my entire career in contact centers and workforce management. And I think so many times as leaders, we think about them and we use the words interchangeably, and which can drastically determine the results that we get, right? So if we're thinking about customer experience and customer service as one and the same, when they're not, then that can hinder what we put together as leaders as our customers' experience journey, right? So when we think about customer service, that's really the byproduct, that's the result of the customer experience, right? So I'm calling as a customer and saying, hey, I need to change my address on my billing, or hey, I need to make a payment. And the person that they're talking to or the chat that they're engaging with, whether that's a person or AI or whatever the case may be, or the email that they're sending, whatever the channel is that's helping that person, that's the active act of doing something. That's customer service. As opposed to the customer experience, how did they get to chat? How did they get to email? How did they experience your brand? What was that journey? And so that thing was just, again, it don't take much, okay? But that thing just did something for me. It was such a great, if you didn't catch the episode, okay, make sure you go back and catch the episode. You can view any of the episodes on solidrockco.net/CCC. And that is solidrockco.net/CCC. the show was super dope. Okay. It was with Jay Jackson. Okay. So make sure that you guys go back and watch the show. Okay. So, okay. Y'all already know what time it is. It's time for Tech Topics. Okay. I always feel like a news reporter when that happens. You know, I didn't get to be a news reporter. And I don't think that was my call anyway. But when that happens, I always feel good about it. So the tech topics that I got for you guys today. All right. So let's hop into it. So tech topic number 1, Avaya and Microsoft, their partnership. Okay. So I saw this pop up in my feed. I think this happened around the 17th, 15th of August, somewhere mid-August, right? And it says that the headline read, Avaya and Microsoft announces integration of Microsoft Azure communication services with Avaya One Cloud, their ACD service. So they're going to be doing a partnership on their products. So that's going to be super cool. I'm sure. I'm super excited to hear more about it and all of the collaborations and what that means for the customer experience. So with Avaya and Microsoft Azure, which is their communication channel, partnering together, what does that mean from a customer experience perspective? Like, does that cut down on average handle time of the amount of time it takes me for for companies that are leveraging that piece of technology? Does that cut down on that time? What is it all about? So I'm super excited to see how that develops and where we go with the Avaya and Microsoft partnership. Avaya and Microsoft. If y'all want to come on the show and talk about it, you just let me know. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Okay. So Slack and Salesforce. So this been happened, right? So this buy happened in like December 2020-ish sometime. However, they're now starting to roll out the integration pieces of Salesforce, which many of you know is like a CRM platform, customer relationship management platform, is now being integrated with Slack, which is a communication platform that allows teams, companies, team members to be able to communicate fluently with each other. And so I can only imagine how this is going to be able to increase sales teams' performance and all of those good things, but also from a customer experience standpoint, how this is going to make sure that the experience during the sales process is probably much more agile and fluid and they're able to get everything that they need. So I'm super excited to see how this develops and how this integration goes. I'll be watching that for sure. Okay. So Slack and Salesforce. Y'all want to come talk to me? That's all you got to say, just make it a thing. Okay. Come talk to me. And then last, but definitely not least, people. Okay. The CX Summit, the 5-9 CX Summit. Now y'all already know that I am going to be on a Women in Tech Reimagineers panel. Okay. Say that 5 times fast, because I know I always jack it up every time I say it. Okay. It's the 5-9 CX Summit. Okay. Where I will be a panelist on the Women in Tech Reimagineers panel. I'm super excited about it. Okay. Sally Eves is going to be on the panel. Sheila is going to be on the panel. And then we also have, hold on. Don't hold me. Janefa is going to be hosting the panel, okay, which is the CMO of 5-9, okay? But I'm super excited about just this panel because I think we need to be talking more and more about what is happening in the world of technology and how women are embodying technology and then making a step in technology, because I think it's going to be super cool. Maribel. All right. So we have Sheila McGee, we have Sally Eves, and then we have Maribel Lopez. We'll all be on this panel. Okay. And then there are keynote speakers that's going to be coming and talking as well. So if you have not registered yet, you're late. No, but if you have not registered yet, I highly encourage you to go and register. It's going to be a phenomenal CX Summit. It's going to be phenomenal information. If you guys have seen my little parody or spoof about the 5 days of CX Summit, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, check it out. Okay, we're talking about, it's going to be fluff-free content. We're talking about AI. We're talking about just so many different things. So make sure y'all go check out register to check out the CX Summit. It's happening September 1st through the 2nd. Okay, so that's right around the corner. So we don't have all day for you to think about if you go register. Just go register. Okay, all right. Anywho, I digress. So next, what are we talking about? Y'all already know. Amazing people doing amazing things. Huh? All right. I love the Amazing People Doing Amazing Things Summit because a section, because I think it's super important that we acknowledge all of the hard work that's happening in the industry and that's going on. So Amazing People Doing Amazing Things. First, I would love to acknowledge Ebony Beckwith. She was just appointed a board member for Poshmark. So congratulations. Congratulations to Ebony Beckwith of Salesforce. She is the CEO of Salesforce Foundation. She was just appointed the board member for Poshmark. So congratulations, Ebony. Then we have Joy Fitzgerald from UHC, United Healthcare. She said something that was just so awesome to me on Women's Equality Day, which was August 26th. Oh, for those of y'all that did not know, never mind, we'll come back to that. Joy Fitzgerald, okay, from United Healthcare, she said, progress is only a dream if you choose to stay the same. So that was super insightful to me, right? It's only a dream. It's only something that you dream about if you choose to not take action, if you choose to not do something about it. And so I thought that was super insightful of her. So congratulations, Joy Fitzgerald, for just being who you are, being a leader, and voicing. We use our voice to impact change, because when we use our voice, then that inspires action, and from action, then we change. So thank you so much, Joy, for that. And then Ray Aquari from Booz and Hamilton for your VIP award. So you just received a VIP award. So I would like to say congratulations to you. Keep doing all of the things that you're doing, all of the hard work that earned you the VIP award. So to our amazing people doing amazing things, continue to do amazing things. So congratulations, Ebony, congratulations, Joy, and congratulations, Ray. I know, I'm so extra. Anywho, so those are our tech topics in our Amazing People Doing Amazing Things segment for today. We got to get, so y'all already know our shows start here and then they go here, right? I don't know how it happens, but it does, okay? We have an excellent guest for you today, okay? His name is Yushau Sodiq, okay? He's the VP of Digital Experience from Verint, okay? And when I tell you I am super excited about this show, now don't hold me, Yushau, okay, on this name, okay? Because I have a thing for names. I'm probably gonna keep mispronouncing it. Just charge it to my mind, all right? Not my heart, okay? But I think he is super dope. I've been watching him for a long time, and I love everything that he posts. And so I was like, hey, I got to have him on the show. So without further ado, welcome to your front, Yushau.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am excellent. I am excellent. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to be here. I've been watching your progress as well. And so it's a pleasure to watch your journey and see what you were doing for women in tech and just for the space in general. I think that's a very cool and just a great just concept car that most people don't take on. And I appreciate that you've taken this thing on and that you're passionate about it. So it's great to finally meet you, but also
Yes.
just to be on with someone who sort of values diversity, values women in tech, values just all the cool stuff that we all strive to be, which is better when it comes to
Yes.
technology and better when it comes to representation. So thank you, Juanita. I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you so much for being on. So, okay. All right. You ready?
I think so. I got my water just in case. I'm ready. I'm ready. This is good. I'm going to do my best not to make you fall out laughing. That's my goal here. Is just, I don't want you to hurt anything.
Please don't. Please don't do it to me. Not on live, okay? Now, if this was pre-recorded, then I'd be like, we can just edit that out. But we live, okay? So please take it
No
easy on me,
worries.
okay?
I'll try. I'll try. I'll try.
So tell the people, we'll hop right in. Tell the people what it is that you do as a VP of digital experience at Verint.
So what my role is, I run digital marketing for Verint, and basically what that entails is I run everything that you think about when it comes to digital, which is the website, social media, our videos, and really anything that comes in as an interaction into all of those channels. And so my role is to manage really our digital presence across Verint and across all the mediums that we do have on social media, on video, YouTube, the whole nine. And so that's what me and my team do. And so, our goal is to not only understand what's happening coming in, but to also be a force for how we present our story and present the Verint name to the universe. And so that's what I do, is I run digital marketing experience for Verint.
That's cool. Tell me how, I'm interested in how what was your journey there? Like, how did you decide? Because I'm always interested in people who have, like, I think unconventional paths. Like, for example, myself, I got into contact centers. Nobody wake up and say, hey, I want to start consulting contact centers. Like, no one does that, right? At least not in my experience. But I'm on a mission to change that. All right.
Absolutely.
But anywho, how did you get into digital marketing and the digital experience of it all?
I think the best way to describe it is I grew up digital. Digital in the sense that when I started in this space, I'm trying not to give up my age real quick, but when I started in this space, the internet was just like coming out, and I was in college at the time. And during that time in college, I just finished getting a marketing degree, and my school at the time that same semester decided that there was this digital, what they call an e-commerce, e-business degree. And it was all about how to make money, or all about like this thing called the internet, and how to maximize business for the internet. And so it was basically like a digital degree. And I stayed 2 extra years in school to like get this degree, because I thought to myself, this internet thing is going to be around for a while, and I want to be a part of it. And so, having stayed in school a little longer, my first foray into the business was, I was a developer slash designer slash graphic artist. I was building websites for people that were on television. I did a couple websites for people that were on The Bachelor, on The Apprentice. And
Come
then,
on here, drop these credentials now. Huh? Come on through here. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
and
I'm
then
sorry.
no, and then, but I was also building websites for like local businesses. Actually, and the first website that I actually built was for my father, who was a professor at the school that I went to. And they were, I don't know if you remember, but back then, professors were the first, and schools were the first to actually get the internet, because they used it for research. And I remember my dad asked me to find something online, and I saw this scrolling, remember old school little blinky marquees that like rolled colors or whatever? It was an alert button that just rolled through the screen. And Juanita, when I tell you I fell in love, I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was a wrap.
I was like, whatever this is, I want a lot of that. And literally, I've been doing digital ever since. So, and my journey started as a designer developer, and then became an interactive project manager, and then went into consulting, and then after consulting, went into this role, which I've been here for the past 4 years, really running digital marketing. So I've done digital my entire adult career. And the most exciting part about it is everyone is starting to catch up. And that's really exciting, right? Is because I've been in this space and everyone's starting to realize that this is the final frontier, right? And so it's been sort of just, I've had just an absolute amazing time really learning this space, but also part of the journey as well, being a part of the journey and seeing how different digital was years ago to where it is now. So yeah, that's how my journey started, as designer, developer, moved into consulting, and now running digital for Verint.
That's amazing. Like, you said something key. I'm going to come back to that. I told you the show grow legs. I told you to grow legs. I told you. So tell me, why do you think that the digital experience is so critical to CX? Like the customer experience. Why is the digital experience? How do they connect?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that the digital experience is the thing that customers interact with more and more now these days than ever before, right? Before you make a phone call, you're likely on Google searching a website. There are statistics, I forget who it is. I think it might have been Serious Decision, that says people interact with your brand almost like 87% or 89% before they even make a decision about purchasing from you. At that rate, they've known so much about you. But what is that story? What's that story that you've put in front of them? And that's why the digital experience is so important. When my wife wants to go to a restaurant, we don't do anything below a 4-star. It's just not going to happen, right? So how did that happen? Well,
that's a little nugget right there for y'all that's out there married or looking to get married. Okay, this is not the relationship show, but I'm saying. I know
right. I mean, so yeah, when I plan an anniversary dinner, I'm choosing nothing but 4.5 stars and up, right? And so that's the experience that a restaurant is giving you when you search for them. That's the experience that they have to cultivate. It's the same thing when you visit a brand. How does that make me feel? And I think you mentioned a little earlier in your monologue around experience versus service. And I think service is the activity that you do, but experience is the emotion that you get from here. Right? Like experiences, how did that make you feel? How did going to that site make me feel? How did going through channeling, how did the call make me feel? What did I feel after the call? What did I feel before the call? That's the experience, because ultimately we want to do it again. We want you to come back for more. We want you to do whatever you did before. We want you to do it again. So let's say you bought a phone, you call Verizon or you call Apple. If that experience isn't great, the likelihood is you're not going to do it again. You have choices as a consumer. And so being able to sort of make sure you maximize that experience is the true definition of that experience. But digital is where the majority of the experiences start. Therefore, maximizing on all those pieces is where really the power is. And so when customer organizations can truly maximize that digital experience, and that starts with your website, that starts with what you've got on Google, and I think it's even moving into how, if you ask Alexa or Google tell me about this brand, the hope would be that whatever that answer is, it's a great one. Because if it's not great, then now you've got to figure out what that story should be. And so your story from the customer perspective is the most important, and how your customers experience your story is what matters when it comes to digital.
Amazing. Amazing. No, because it's so true. Like, right. So you think about, like you said, you get ready to take your wife on an anniversary dinner. We're not going anywhere below those 4 stars, right? That's seeing the 4 stars is part of the digital experience, right? That the
Absolutely.
brand had to work to cultivate. Like the 4 stars didn't just magically pop up, right?
No,
Like
absolutely.
you weren't
Yeah,
even rated on Google if you didn't show up in that space. Right.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's part of creating the digital experience. You said something key earlier that I gotta run back to. Okay. I gotta run back to it. Okay. You said in college, so you started off in this, with this marketing degree and then the program that they had specifically, but you said something key. You said, I've been doing this. And this was like, and now this is this like new frontier, digital internet's going to be around, and this is new frontier. When did the dots connect for you that when you saw the marquee, right, and all of that, hey, this is a career, this is something that companies, they got to get a hold of, or
For sure.
they
Yeah.
won't be around.
I think it it honestly probably was the building the websites for the what I call reality stars. It
Mm.
was probably that, and seeing how people responded to the experience that was built. There was a contestant on The Bachelor, and I remember when I built his site and we launched it, the amount of just feedback and the amount of just questions and people asking, how did you do that? What made that did that? And then we had like a feedback form, and he was interacting with his fans. All that, I think, for me was like the lightning bolt. Like, oh yeah, I want to do a lot of this. And I
Yeah.
think what I realized is that it didn't stop at the screen. There was a conversation that was happening beyond the screen, and early on, I recognized that eventually that conversation is going to, like, it will always be seamless. We are now chatting with the people on when it comes to customer experience. We're now having conversations through chat or through Facebook Messenger or through whatever kind of medium. And when you recognize that the customer can get a hold of you that quickly, or your customers can get a hold of the organization, now you're maximizing the experience. Now you got to train your agents to know, okay, if someone is having this conversation, what did they see on the screen? What was it that caused them to make this phone call? Did something break? Did something not break? Is there a way to enhance their experience? And so it was probably sort of the reactions that I saw as I built each of the sites, right? And over my career, I built something close to 300 websites in terms of just
Wow.
launches. And so that has been sort of just the guiding principle is, after you build it, now the journey starts into what you do with it and what the information that you put out there. And it's really about the story. What's the story that you are now telling your customers as you are, telling your story? And what does that look like?
That's amazing, and you just said something super key. Like after you build it, that's the journey starts there. Like
Mhm.
that's not
Yeah.
the end, right? Like so,
Yeah.
this is just the beginning. And I think so many times we think of CX as a stopping point, or that's the end of the road, when
Mhm.
in actuality, that's where it begins to get a customer to engage with you, what their
Yeah.
experience is there, to moving into customer service and all of those different components. Which is why I think it was mind blowing to me again last week when I was thinking about the whole customer service versus customer experience, how they're different, when a customer engages, why they're so different and how it impacts the customer service experience. Tell me from a digital perspective, right? When you're thinking through the digital perspective, what's your thought process of, okay, or do you have one? Like, is this something that builds organically as far as like, what do I want the CX experience to be? Or do you map that journey out and then create the digital experience around what you want the experience to be?
You know, I would I would say that there's no wrong answer to that. I think the key, as we talked about earlier, is just starting. It's just putting something out there. There's been times where I've built an entire site. It took 12 months to build, put it out there, and then we realized there's some things that was missing, things that were broken, and then we learned along the way. And then there were times when I built an entire, where we literally mapped every single requirement, every single journey, every single thing, every single possible question that could be asked.
Mm.
We mapped it all the way through it, and then we launched it, right? And either way works. But as long as you're learning throughout the entire journey, that's what matters. And so even as we launched the site, we were learning, what are people interacting with? What are people not interacting with? What do we put way too much time into that now doesn't get that many visits? Or what do we build here that now needs another kind of integration that we didn't think about before? And so I think journey mapping is such a wonderful, amazing thing to do before you launch anything. I think figuring out what kind of users are going to be on the site, figuring out who's going to be on the site, and then also recognizing that your site is also your brand, and there's other elements of not just the product that are so important that you have to go into the experience as well. So any organization that doesn't think about culture, doesn't think about diversity, doesn't think about sort of its leadership, all those things, people are looking on websites and looking at that digital experience. They want to feel all of that before they go work for a company. And so recognizing that all of those things matter as you build your site, as you build your digital experience, is just a key part to having a successful site, having a successful experience, and having all your channels really match well with each other.
That was amazing. You said, so there's so many other digital, I have to be right, like, oh, he said. I'm telling you, if you could see my behind the scenes, I'm like, oh man, I got to record. I'm so ashamed because I'd be so hyped. I'm telling you, Yushau, I'd be so hyped. Listen, you said that there are so many elements that are important other than just the product. There are so many other elements to the digital experience. You got to step down on that. Come, give me some more on that one. That's good.
Yeah, I think one thing that that I've recognized, but also learning, and I think digital is one thing. That digital equals journey. Once you recognize that digital is always a journey, you never know exactly the answer. You only know it at that moment, but it's always a journey to doing more or to sort of expanding what your brand looks like. I've been, of the 300 sites that I built, let's say probably 100 of them have been enterprises, right? Of those websites, the top 10 most visited page on all those enterprise sites has been the career page. Out of the gate has been the career page, right? So if the career page doesn't speak to the people that want to work for the organization, you're not going to get the right people to work for the organization. If your website doesn't convey the culture, the messaging, the passion, the purpose that your organization wants to actually put out there, you're not going to get the right people that work for you. If you are innovative and you don't have an innovative website, you're not going to get innovative people to work for you. And so that's the mesh that you have to dive into. So when you're building a corporate site, think about the culture page, think about the diversity page, think about the leadership page. All those things are super important. Think about the career page and how that experience, because all of those pieces is what people use and what people are, all right, who's on the board? Who is in the leadership? What kind of organization is this? What's the makeup of everyone here? Are people happy? People search on all types of, rating sites. And that's the thing. All of those things matter. And so if you're not paying attention as an organization to those things, then you're really missing the boat, because it matters to your brand that those elements are addressed. And if you don't address them, you're not getting what you want from a purpose perspective. And every organization's purpose is always different. And if your purpose doesn't match with your brand or what you are putting out there in the ecosystem of digital, you are missing out on your true sort of calling when it comes to getting that customer experience right.
Man, like, so it can seem so overwhelming to think about the digital experience, because it's like you said, our consumers and stakeholders and employees and like you said, the top page that's visited from your enterprise sites that you've built have always been the career page. So I can't even think about just the product, right? And from a consumer standpoint and what the site and the digital experience is, I also got to now think about from agent engagement or employee engagement is what I like to call it, right?
Yeah.
So EX, so not just CX is important when we're talking about the digital experience and digital journey, but EX is important, which is something that is very key that you said. And we got to talk about this now. Okay. When I go high pitched, that means I'm excited. Okay. So
I can't get to that often, but I know what you're talking about.
when we talk about CX, I always say this, and I just know how to give it to you this way, right? Just as real as I can. Yeah. If your CX program does not consider EX, employee engagement, it's probably trash. Right. That's just what it is. You know, like if we're not, it's just what it is. It probably need work. OK, if I was just being more politically correct, if your CX program does not consider or is lacking in employee engagement, it's probably lacking because of what you literally just said. Right. Like of the top visited pages. When we're talking about digital experience and we're talking about CX, we're having a conversation about CX and digital experience. Still the top visited page is careers.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And I think when you think about it, right, there's the CX, there's the EX, but across the thing is digital, right? Because the CX has a digital component. The EX has a digital component. It all matters, right? The back end, your back end, back office, how you operate is so important, but also how your CX program operates in front of customers is so important. So the digital piece runs across all of those. And so to your point, maximizing across the board is vital, and you won't have trash if you think about all those components, right? Because you're not missing out. And that's the thing, you know, when people go to a website, they want to, the same way when you are buying something, you want to feel good about it. It's the same thing with a brand. When you're interacting with a brand, you still want to feel good about it. Even if it's serving a purpose, people feel good when they buy software to some degree, right? But they had so many different components when they were looking at the software packages, right? If I'm looking for, you know, I'm gonna just say an ERP system since we're not in that business. I'm looking at an ERP system. Outside of the functionality, outside of the feature set, the benefits of those pieces, I want to know that this organization got me, that when I need it, they have me, that they understand that I need them in this moment. And that's how you're going to choose your ERP system, right? Now, exchange ERP with any other 3-letter, 2-letter tool system out there, and it works the exact same. When I'm buying marketing automations, whatever it may be, all of it feels the same. When I'm buying tools, we want to feel good about our purchases. No one's purchasing things just like, yep, it does exactly this. I don't need anything else. Not no one, but like very few things are we choosing to be like, you know, this is just functional. You know, maybe this thing that holds like my phone, I didn't feel great about it. I just needed it, right? But that's it, right? But there's other things that I buy that I really want to feel good about, right? Or a vehicle, you want to feel good about it. A house, you want to feel good. People aren't buying a house just because, oh, I just need a 3-bedroom and 2-bath. I don't care what it does. As long as I have 3-bedroom, 2-bath. No one has ever said those words.
Ever.
Ever.
Listen. Whew. Okay, let me get my life together. So, okay, listen. So, what about, okay, sorry, I'm still laughing at this. Okay. So with digital being, the digital experience being almost that common denominator, right, between CX and EX and everything else, right? It makes you think as a brand, wow, this is so much I have to take into consideration. Being a digital experience leader, what would be your advice as far as what to tackle first. What are some of the most important things that I should be considering as a brand when I'm thinking about the digital experience?
I think the first key is to get honest with yourself around where exactly you are. An assessment, audit. Let's look at everything that we are today so you know where you want to be, but also so you strive for better, whatever that description may be, whatever that strategy for better may be. Anyone who's looking at building out an ecosystem for digital experience should always start out with some level of an audit, some level of an assessment. Where are we today? What are we doing today? And what do we have in our ecosystem? And even just diving into that ecosystem of what systems we have, what experiences do we have, what tools are inside of our toolbox. It's just the initial start. So you say, okay, now we know that we want to be the number one customer engagement company in the world, right? And most organizations want to get to that space. If that's what we want to do, where are we today? And now, what are the elements that we can tackle one by one, right? Mm-hmm. You don't try to tackle the entire gamut, right? No one fixes things. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's how the quote goes. So what things can I tackle immediately? But also, I think it's important to have the right partners, to bring in the right people, to have the conversations with the right stakeholders. And that goes all the way from the top, all the way down. The people on the ground level have so much insight into what's happening. And if you ignore their suggestions or ignore what they're saying, you're not doing it right. And you're going to have something that's top led, but not from the ground floor. And now you're missing out on an entire experience that you didn't pay attention to. Therefore, that audit is so important.
Yeah, and that audit should be inclusive of, like what you're saying, all those stakeholders, because you said something so key, right? From the top all the way down to the people who are on the ground floor, and which is why I think CX is so impacted, or your EX is so impacted by CX, and vice versa, right? If I'm saying, hey, I want to have a great customer experience, how you gonna have that, brand? How you gonna have that if it don't include the employees? Huh? Yeah. Because they on the ground floor. They the ones servicing your customer. So Absolutely. To have a CX program that does not take into consideration the employee experience is, for lack of better words, okay? Because I'm not, it's lacking.
We don't have a synonym book, so we'll just use the first word that come out.
Trash, right? Like, because you think about it, like I was in another show, I was talking about like this Chick-fil-A experience, right? Like how these people will run you down to give you your missed order, right? Yes. Because it's the employee experience that Absolutely. The culture that Chick-fil-A has built, right? And so when we think about CX, that CX experience is driven based on that employee experience. Absolutely. And I think that's how it's why you're gonna have me making up stuff now. I'm about to say DX, right? I think that's why the digital experience is so important. Think about it, like what you're saying. If something's broken on the site, right? Like you take orders on your website, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have your careers page, the most visited page, and you're telling people, hey, sign up, submit your resume. But every time I get ready to hit the submit button, it recycles to the home page, because it's linked to the home page for some reason. Yeah. Now you're driving calls into your HR department, or if this was a product, you're driving calls there, or the customer simply like, I ain't got time for this. Let me go to the other website of the competitor who their site work, right? So they're either you're driving business away, or you are causing unnecessary hardship to the employee, because now call volume's spiking up. Person's like, hey, I can't get, this to work. So it impacts, the digital experience impacts that employee experience, and if it's not impacting that employee experience, it's probably because they're going to a competitor.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you find out about it, it's probably too late.
It's already
Right.
too late.
And the
Which
thing
is a great we got to step down on that one. That's
yeah.
so good. When you find out about it's already too late. So how as a digital leader, right, of digital experience, do you keep an audit going? Like, do you have a process of like, hey, we're always checking these, levels on this, or we're always checking this? Give that to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with digital. I think the beautiful thing about digital is a lot of it is measurable and a lot of it comes in reporting. And you can see a lot of sort of the way that people are going to your website. You can see the broken links. You can find out when things are not working. And then the other piece of it is that we also build processes to where people can reach out if things are broken internally and externally. And so that's where things like a feedback management system helps on the website. That's where things like chat on a website helps as well, right? So where people can say, hey, I couldn't get to this. Can you help? And so I think it's the ongoing element of, because this is a journey, you're always auditing. And that's the good thing about digital. We're always auditing. We're always changing things out. We're always modifying the story. It's not that it's a wildly different story than what it was like a week ago. It's just that we listened, we adjusted. Now here's the new one, right? It's sort of just slow build rather than saying, oh, we're going to completely change absolutely everything to accommodate for this. Any sort of organization is likely, they've known that, oh, okay, we're going to address this. How do we now slowly solve for it? Not really slowly, but how do we solve for this in a very measured kind of way? And I think having reporting, having audits is the best way to do that, right? Leveraging monitoring tools, leveraging where your ecosystem goes, like how many leads do we have? Can we get more leads? Are there ways to maximize on getting people to fill out the lead forms, right? Are there ways that when people are chatting, instead of having them go to this place, can we get them an answer right away, right? Or to where people aren't searching for so many different things. You don't want people, the one thing you want people to do when they get to your website is to read your content and consume it. And if you put too many things or barriers in the way, that means they're not consuming the content the way that your entire content teams, the way that your entire marketing teams, all these people have worked so hard and so passionate about telling the story. And then there's a broken link. And now that experience completely is like, okay, all right,
falls flat.
I'm out. Right. And so, I mean, and that's how people have short fuses when it comes to digital experience. And I think part of that comes from the FANGs, right? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google's have made that customer experience such a high bar. Like, I've never not had a video not work on Netflix when I was clicking on it. And if it didn't work, it was probably my internet provider, right?
Oh my God. That's so good. Oh my God. That is so good what you just said. Listen, your confidence in the digital experience is so high that you're like, if it didn't work, it wasn't Netflix. It was my internet. Like it's almost like when you go to. I saw a meme Yushau that it was talking about Chick-fil-A, and they were saying Chick-fil-A don't get orders wrong. If Chick-fil-A got the order wrong, God knew what was best for me. Like I probably ordered it wrong.
That was on me.
That was my bad, Chick-fil-A. Like their confidence is so high in that experience that they take the blame on themselves or redirect it because they're like, no, I've experienced them so many times and they're consistent in their experience that if it was wrong, it was on me.
Imagine brands saying that, right? Imagine like getting to that level of brand experience where customers doubt themselves, right? Customers like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I did something wrong, but you guys are pretty good at this, right? I mean, think about when you order something off of Amazon and like you get the wrong thing and then you just send it back, but they make it so seamless, right? And if they made it hard, you're like, wait, what is happening? What's going on here? You're almost like a different person. You're like, okay, I do not understand what is going on. But to your point, it's probably not Chick-fil-A's fault.
No,
Yeah,
because
that's
I
not
probably
their
asked for
fault.
honey mustard sauce. I know I didn't ask for Polynesian.
Not
Couldn't have.
Chick-fil-A.
Not
Not
Chick.
him. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But that's how how the digital experience and the experience when we're talking about any experience, right?
Absolutely.
Digital, customer, employee, all of these
Yeah,
experiences matter, right?
they matter.
And so tell me from one of our missions, right? I can't believe we're already at the bottom. Where does the time go? All right. So tell me, okay, I got a list of questions still left, but we just gonna get to the ones we can. All right. One of our big missions here is to normalize women in tech and leadership roles. So it's around D&I, and that's a big corporate initiative. Companies are, plastering it everywhere and saying that that's what they're about, that life, and that corporate mission. How does the digital experience play a factor in, hey, we are saying we are about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then that showing up in the digital experience, but maybe not showing up in the actual experience?
Yeah, I think really digital and D&I think actually play together really, really well. And I think part of the reason they do is they are a window into the reality of your world. Both of those things are exactly what the world is, right? Mm-hmm. And so as an organization, if your mission is to be purpose built and your mission is to have passion and compassion for organizations and for customers, but yet the people that you hire do not represent that, then something's missing, right? Then something's not afoot here, because your mission is to be this, but yet when you look at yourselves, you're not this. And so I think when it comes to D&I, there's an element of just a reality check that people have to take and organizations have to take with themselves and say, okay, we're not who we want to be, but let's work on who we want to grow up to be. I think all organizations strive to be, this is what I want to be when I grow up. And every organization is always growing up, right? Right now, organizations are sort of caught at this moment where they're like, we haven't really grown up. Now let's grow up to be exactly the kind of organization that people want to work for, the type of organization that is easy to work with, the type of organization that has diversity as a mantra within its core values. And now that they are seeing it, I think organizations are taking a step back and saying, okay, what can we actually do to get to this level? And that starts with really looking at diversity as a board level initiative, right? It is not just an initiative that a team takes on. It's not just an HR function. It's not just a people leader function. It is an initiative that everyone sort of takes on. And starting at that level is how you make it important for everyone, right? And being very conscious about what you do on the leadership level, being conscious about, hey, are we looking at the right people when we're searching for this role? Is there something that we are missing? And I think, again, that's one of those areas that I think you bring in partners to help you. You bring in someone who has done this in the past. You bring in organizations that say, we can help you solve this diversity issue, because it's obvious that you haven't solved for it already on your own, or your leadership hasn't focused on this. So we can help you do this. And I think when an organization is able to sort of say, okay, oh yeah, I could use this help. I could use someone not only looking at my journey, but looking at who we are as an organization. And now I want to grow up to be this now. That's, I think, is like key number one. And that's where I think digital is exactly the same thing. Digital is looking at, this is what I want to be when I grow up. This is the experience that I want to be when I grow up to be that brand. We all want to be Netflix. We all want to be Chick-fil-A, right? When we talk about customer experience, every organization wants to be the Chick-fil-A of that experience.
Yeah.
Right? We want to have people run to our cars to give us a ketchup packet. That's the kind of experience we want to build as a brand. And so looking at it from that aspect and saying, oh, we're not there yet, but here are some steps that we can take to get there. An audit helps. And that's the thing, even an audit organizationally. How many people do we have that are women in tech? How many people do we have that are Black in tech? How many people do we have that are LGBT in tech, right?
Yeah.
And be honest about those numbers and say, okay, this is where we are. What can we get to? And then there's definitely different steps you can take to get to that, around hiring, around culture, around addressing all of those elements. But it starts with looking at ourselves and saying, we are not where we want to be. Now, how do we take the next step to be the grown up? We all want to be grown up. You know what I mean? And so we all want to be Chick-fil-A at the end of the day when it comes to experience. And how do we do those things? Or if there's an organization from a diversity perspective that you like, okay, how do they do it? Look at examples. Like, no one should be too shy to say, oh, they're doing it right. Let's get there from there, right? Or let's try to do whatever they're doing, right? You know, as a marketing person, I love what Salesforce is doing. I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. Let's do some more like those kinds of things, right? And there's many organizations that do a lot of cool stuff. In marketing, we're always copying, borrowing, buying different kinds of things, but we're always looking for organizations that are doing it best and trying to make sure that we do it just as well and we do it better. And we highlight our own culture elements and our own diversity pieces into it overall. So, yeah, I hope that answered the question. I feel like I went a little long.
No, that was good. That was good. And I think one of the things that stuck out to me that you said is it's not just a function of HR. This is not just a function of a specific team. This is a thing that has to be embodied from leadership down. I also loved what you said when you said we have to look for partners, right? So if we have, and we truly want to be a diverse organization, how do we bring in partners that can offer us that diversity? Whether that's in vendors, whether that is in someone to say, hey, I know y'all don't frequent over here on, on this side of town, but that's where I stay. And I know the people who want to get involved in tech. I know the women that want to get involved in tech that don't look like what you're accustomed to seeing, right? And so I think that was key that stuck out to me. Partners, and then it's an initiative from the top down. That was super, super cool. We're at the bottom of the time, but I cannot let you go without this, okay? I've been staring at this thing in the back that says, I am amazingly hilarious. And I know from your LinkedIn profile that you have comedian on your profile. You got to give me a joke. I'll wait.
I didn't have anything planned, but I'll give you sort of just a Chick-fil-A joke. So during the pandemic, I'm an extrovert, so I was very much needing to go and just be around people. So what I would do is I would go to Chick-fil-A, get a drink, and then go back around, then get some fries, and then go back around, and then finally get some chicken. And now me and Jebediah hang out on the weekends. So.
And I saw that so much for people who are extroverts, right? I don't know where we go. I just need to.
Yes.
I wonder how that's a conversation for a whole nother show. But no, I think that impacted, like with the pandemic, even customer experience from an employee experience perspective. Like, I need to just be around people. Can I just talk to the customer a little bit longer on this phone call, or so I'm sure that had impacts from a customer experience and an employee engagement experience as well in companies for those extroverts, right? People who are extroverts. Yeah.
Oh, it was tough for me. Let's just say that it was tough not being around people. But that's the joke. And it's funny because everyone has that Chick-fil-A experience, and they've gone to Chick-fil-A many of times. And you're absolutely right. We all want to be that from the experience part. And then I think the funniest thing, I've got kids, and there's moments when my kids expect that from us, right? Or where I'll be making a sandwich and my kids are like, oh, you didn't put the right order in. I'm not Chick-fil-A.
First of all, I'm not Chick-fil-A. Okay. Oh my gosh, I've had so much fun with you on this show. Okay, my last thing, leave the audience with a piece of advice when it comes to digital experience.
I think the biggest thing with digital that I think is super important is that empathy is needed. Empathy and gratitude just across the board when it comes to how you think about your digital landscape. Empathy being just knowing that people are going through things, but also being recognizing that they're not alone, and recognizing that people's stories and people's experiences truly matter. And so I think when it comes to digital, understanding that experiences matter, people's stories matters, and you don't know what people have gone through or where they're going through to get to where they are today. And so when they get to your site or when they get to that experience, you don't get any of the backstory. So as someone who's interacting with them, just have empathy. And I think empathy will get you so far, because I truly believe it comes back like 10 times fold when you are just super empathetic to the world around you. So I think from a digital perspective, I always say with digital, there's emotions. And those emotions, and when you tap into those emotions around digital, you can truly get to a great customer experience, because at the end of the day, we all want to be loved, and we all want to be happy, and we all really want something more than just the benefit, more than just the feature. We all want that big thing. And so sort of just from a digital perspective, providing that empathy and being gracious about, just being there, I think is super, super important. I know that's not like a quote or anything, but
no, that's good. Empathy.
Just empathy in general, I think is a quality trait that I think as a world we could use more of, but I think as a digital person is vital to really success.
That is amazing. Hang out with me in the green room for a minute. I'm gonna wrap the show and I'll be with you. Okay.
Absolutely.
How amazing was that? Okay, we traveled some places today on Call Center Chronicles. We covered a lot of ground, digital experience, the various digital aspects, why digital experience is important to customer experience and employee experience, the top visited pages on company sites. Like, we talked through so much information and got so much insight. The show was awesome. Okay, if I do say so myself. Okay. But I want to hear back from you. I want to hear your feedback, your thoughts. Was there anything I want to know? What I want to know, Yushau said something really key on about auditing your auditing your digital experience process. How many companies out there are auditing their digital experience process or their journey? How are you modifying it? He also talked about modifying your digital experience. I want to hear from you. Leave some comments. I'm going to come back and read them and engage with you and get some feedback from you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tune in. We'll be right here next week. Same time, same place. Bye, guys.